Well, why are Hey guys, what's up? George here, aka T-WreckSs, bringing you another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today we are going to be looking at Eldar Skarg and his capacity to be a spider god. Now, recently Eldar Skarg was on the buff list. You'll see mine is not maxed. He's only 50. He's only 3-star ascended. He has poor gear on. However, he was recently buffed in the patch and they changed some stuff in his kits. So let's look at what they changed. So his A2 hits 3 times, places an extra hit for each buff or debuff on the target. That's exactly the same. But now, instead of placing stuff for certain buffs that are on the enemy, he now can place 3 extra hits and places a HP burn debuff and a true fear on all enemies if this attack places all 3 extra hits, steals all buffs from the target after the attack. So that's great for arena, but where I want to try and use him is the spider. If you can get 3 debuffs on the main spider, on one of the spiderlings. Now it does take some setup to do it. He will place a HP burn everywhere. He also has this move here which puts a fear and increased defense and all sorts of other things there, provoke and stuff on legendary champions, and then he takes less damage from legendary champions. That was the other part of his buff, but that is not what I want to try him for. I want to try him for this. Now for this to work, you do need accuracy for the HP burns to land everywhere. They're not irresistible. His accuracy is a bit low on my team, so I don't know whether this will work fully. I have done one run of this already just to see if the concept worked within a spider run. Obviously, he's negative affinity on the spirit affinity, but he should place all the extra hits. So we're just going to pop everybody out of this setup for a minute, and we're going to think about what we might need for a HP burn strat. So we obviously need someone to shield our guys up. We need some turn meter control, so maybe a cold heart could go in there quite nicely. That could be quite good. We obviously have decreased defense and weaken in Dracomorph, who I literally just got. Then we have HP burn and tank in Eldar Skarg, which is really, really nice. And then we could potentially either bring in a speed up or we could bring in another turn meter champion to help control the spider's turn meter. Or if you had someone like Septimus, you could bring them in for a heavy hit on the spider. Obviously, if you're lower down, you may not have the Dracomorph, you may not have the Septimus. If you've just got Eldar Skarg and he's your only legendary, he can do this job. I'm using the legendaries I have at my disposal, although you could use any decreased defense or a spider who has decreased defense and a small weaken. You could pretty much use anybody in this setup. I'm going to go for Septimus for this, just to show how with less... I don't want to use Royal Guard, basically, because of the AoE damage that he does to the spiderlings. For a HP burn strat to work, you need the spiderlings to burn. Now, the problem here is we may not quite get 3 debuffs off. So the first one, we get 2 debuffs straight away from Dracomorph. Now, you can do this with a Madame Ceres for decreased defense, decreased attack. You can do this with a spider, decreased defense and little weaken. You can have 2 champions in there that throw out a couple of debuffs. So we see here, hopefully we'll get some stuns off with Miscreated Monster, which we did. So we've got 3 debuffs over here and we've got 3 over here. This guy doesn't look like he's going to go before Eldar Skarg. In fact, none of them are. So we're going to select his A2. We're going to select someone who's got 3 debuffs so that we guarantee he lands those 3 extra hits. And we're going to pop out HP burn. So you see we've got resisted only 2 times there. So that's actually pretty awesome. So now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use Septimus's A1 to lower the turn meter of the main spider, just so we can see the spiderlings go off. Now they'll target Eldar Skarg because he's negative affinity, but with Miscreated Monster's massive shields, he's surviving. And obviously once you have HP burn, it damages the main spider. So you can see there, we've got quite a lot of damage going on the main spider right now. Like I said, this does require a little bit of setup. You do have to make sure you have the debuffs out there for his hits to come 3 extra hits. Now what you can then do is you can increase his defense and fear everybody, which means they get a chance not to go. Even if they don't go, they still burn. Now I'm just going to use Septimus now to take out a big chunk of damage here, just because I only had him. I could have put a turn meter champion in there instead, to be fair. So 2 or 3 of them then didn't go, and they've pretty much burnt the spider down now. Obviously the spider is going to take a turn unless these last couple go. Obviously negative affinity is going to get weak hits on the spiders. Unfortunately, I might just be able to use Draco to finish off the big spider by chucking out some poisons. The burns go again. He's now dead, but it's not a problem. Yes, I know I used 2 other legendaries in this run, but this is achievable with others. I just don't have the chance to show you how achievable it is without. So you'll see there, that's pretty cool that Eldar Skarg can now be used for the HP burn. So let's take a look at my Eldar Skarg. It's a slightly longer run, but with him being force affinity, he's negative to the Spider 20 boss, which means he can also be your tank. Now, you don't need him in Spider to do damage for you in order for this HP burn to happen. So yes, he is an attack champion, so you want to build him with attack really, but if you build him with defensive stats, so I've got him in an accuracy chest just to bring that accuracy up a little bit more, crit damage gauntlets because I had them lying around, and speed boots because he has to go a decent speed in order to get that off before the spider goes. But it's all about that A2. Obviously it's a 3-turn cooldown, so it actually comes around quite quickly. I think this is incredible. This is no masteries or anything on this guy. I think they've done a really good job at buffing him. I already like Eldar Skarg because of the utility of his kit. He's got fears and all sorts in his A3 and stuff. And now with this hitting 3 times, if you're up against someone like a Sifi, obviously you're not going to put the HP or true fear on them if you hit her 3 times because the block debuffs will still be there. But he will then steal all those buffs onto himself after that attack, which I think is really, really cool. That is why they've put the steal all buffs from the target after the attack, because if he stole them before, he'd then be able to basically debuff people who are blocking debuffs, which is totally understandable. But I think this guy now, from going from an underrated, not very useful champ, he could become your spider burner. And recently I did some account takeovers where I did some spider runs all the way from 15 through to 20 using the HP burn strat. Obviously you have to switch out your protection. It requires certain other things. You have to have 3 debuffs on the enemy, so whether that's decreased defense, decreased attack, and one other, maybe a decreased accuracy if you have a Sylar or another champ that can put out a weaken. So I did try this. I ran decreased defense and weaken along with Madame, who also does decreased defense and decreased attack. So I had 3 debuffs out there and it worked exactly the same. So I'm glad that this worked well for this video. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm making a push to get to as many subscribers as I can get to. Really love to hit 1,000. Take care of yourselves. Have a good day. Try out Eldar Skarg in your spider run if you're struggling. If you have Miscreated Monster as well alongside him, he makes a fantastic tank. Build him tanky. Don't build him for damage. Just make sure his accuracy is up there so he lands that HP burn on as many spiderlings as he can. As long as there are 3 debuffs there, he will guaranteed get that HP burn out on the enemy. I'll see you in the next video, and don't forget, get online and get wrecking.